Good morning. I see we got someone in here with us. Justin, thank you for joining again, yet another morning. You've been very loyal to our coffee and stock session. I'm glad to have you here. I'm gonna I'm pushing out the notification to everyone now. I'm trying to give some people some time in order to join us. Hmm. Yeah. Good morning. I see we got someone else in here with us. If you'll let me know who's in here before we get started. Like I said, I'm gonna give some people some time to get started. I'm actually gonna make me another pot of coffee myself. Ah, what platform do you trade on? I currently trade on Thinkorswim. TDA Ameritrade, and I use the Thinkorswim platform to conduct all of my trades. I use TradingView for my trend analysis because of all the tools that they provide. In doing so, it provides a much better visual than TDA can, or Thinkorswim rather, um, and so we find it very useful. As you can see, I got the little one with me, so I won't be on camera this morning for some time. But I'm going to go ahead and open this up so we can review everything. Let's go ahead and refresh this real quick while we have some time. Bah. 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 Yeah. Could you please go over Tesla? Of course. Um, so as we looked at it yesterday, okay, using Webull. Yeah, I don't use Justin. I don't use like Robinhood or Webull or anything like that. That's not my thing. But um, there is something I want to share with everybody that I think I figured out or kind of put together based on what we saw yesterday, and it kind of led me to believe that. So recently, Tesla. I'm not sure if Tara is still in here with us. Tara, are you still here? Um, but to begin, one thing that I noticed yesterday is the fact that Bitcoin pulled back almost $10,000, and with Tesla having a $1.5 billion stake in Bitcoin now, that is causing the price of Tesla to pull back with Bitcoin. Um, I think at its peak or around the $54,000 level of Bitcoin, um, and based on Tesla's stake in that, Tesla made about $255 million. Now it did jump another $2,000, so it's about another 48,000 that they or 48 million that they added to that. And what I would assume is Tesla probably, captured those gains. I mean, they're up 25% on their initial investment. So, but not to say that they did, but this is what I'm thinking of. This is what I put together yesterday. I kind of stood back after yesterday's session and just kind of watched the markets based on what we determined yesterday. So, If you were to compare Bitcoin to how Tesla's price action is moving, you will kind of identify that once Bitcoin pulled back. Let me do this. Let me pull my indicators out and we can see the price action. So the fact that Bitcoin pulled back $10,000 just in pre-market alone, it brought Tesla down to gap down. Now, that's because of that $1.5 billion stake in Bitcoin. But why I think the market's pulled back is because Tesla is now a part of the S&P 500, and so once Tesla did pull back, the rest of the market pulled back with it. And then we saw panic selling in a lot of the markets because of that. So I feel like now we have a gauge to kind of understand how our markets are going to be moving. And based on this, if I can zoom in here, yeah, there we go. Based on this pullback, we should expect the markets to do the same, gap down today. And I think I'm going to be tracking this a lot more closely because the fact that Tesla did pull back based on Bitcoin and the rest of the market followed. EV plays are getting pulled down, and Bitcoin stock plays as well. So now what this provides us is a monitoring tool. Even over the weekends while the market shut down, we now have a somewhat of a, what you can call a speedometer, I guess, to kind of estimate how the markets are going to open up the following week, the next day. And so that's something I've been watching here over the course of the night. I didn't trade much. We reviewed a bunch of stocks yesterday, and basically I closed out a lot of my positions. I found a re-entry into the SPY. I recovered all of my losses from yesterday morning. By the end of the day, around 2:45, I was still green, based on the plays that we did yesterday. If you were here, not sure if you were here or not, Tara, but you can continue to use Bitcoin to basically gauge how Tesla is going to play. Because of that, even though Tesla has so much great news coming out, I actually said Tesla was going to come back to 768. I let everybody know that last week, that I had that expectation in our Discord channel, and I actually did some intraday short options on it and everything. And people were like, "Man, you're crazy to short Tesla." But as you can see, we broke below that 744 support level, going into Monday's session. And it pulled back all the way to 620, I think, at its lowest. And so now we're at a great buying position, play for Tesla. If you haven't had a chance to buy it before it went to the 800s and stuff like that, because a lot of people are assuming that Tesla is going to go to 1,000 over the course of, I want to say by April. A lot of people had those expectations, and so what we're looking at is, we're gauging everything off of Bitcoin. So now, in order to determine how Tesla's going to move, you have to know how Bitcoin's going to move. And what I'll do is I'll switch the positions here so that we can get that idea. No, I didn't want to do a new pane. Give me a second. Let me get this set up a little more properly. And I'm going to go ahead and add the SPY in here too, just so we can compare how that price action is pretty much correlating. And as you see, the gap down here, that was yesterday's market open. It's all correlating. So that's kind of leading to my suggestion that if Bitcoin's down, the rest of the market's coming with it, because of the fact that Tesla has this large stake in it, and Tesla is now a part of the S&P 500, and the fact that Bitcoin was down $10,000 over the weekend. Specifically, I think it was like Monday, Tuesday morning. And I didn't know why the markets were coming down until I started looking into that information and kind of finding out that correlation. So what we need to see here, if we're going to base it off of that type of analysis, we need to see Bitcoin keep its support above the $49,194 price levels moving forward. You don't want it? In order to confirm that the market's going to correlate with it properly, moving back to the upside. I'm going to pull my indicators back in here on Bitcoin. And as you can see, we're currently trading low below the EMAs, which is a concern. And we're retesting that top level support that we identified yesterday. So I'm going to change those now that we have that basis. I'm going to change it to like a color I don't typically use so that I can refer to it later versus my older analysis on the trade. Uh-oh. You okay? You okay? You gonna play for a minute? Alright. Let her do her thing while I do mine. So that's what we're looking at, is seeing how Bitcoin goes into the market open, actually, even though, you know, it's separate from the stock market. A lot of institutions trade at the same times. At the market opens, you see large price fluctuations in Bitcoin. So we need to stay above that $49,194 price level. You could pretty much base most of your trades off of that because of the fact that the entire stock market is now being weighed down by Tesla and its price action. So looking at it from a 4-hour point of view, though, I'm going to pull some of this stuff out so we can get some clearer views now that we have established that determination. And I'm actually going to keep my orange price ranges in there because that was identified, you know, going into last week. And I'm going to see if we need to adjust this one, this bottom line. The reason I identified this bottom line horizontal trend or price level is because of the resistance that Tesla ran into before it actually bumped up above it. And as you can see, that's where it found its new support once again. So we had a resistance to support reversal occur yesterday, and we can have a baseline. Even though it pulled back heavy, you know, to 220, it still retraced back up above the 681, and it's continuing to the upside. Now, we need to make sure that Bitcoin doesn't lose steam and continuing moving to the upside. And I'm not sure if anybody has paid attention to Bitcoin back in, you know, the 2016 Bitcoin halving, which pumped it up to 20,000. And then it retraced back to, I think, the $5,000 range in 2017. So that's something to keep in mind here, too, as far as a risk factor, is that it could pull back after reaching these all-time highs. And the fact that it's having issues getting above the 57, I'm not saying it's having strong issues, but if we were to do a trend line to identify the trend to the upside, we can do that here. Wrong indicator, I'm sorry, or wrong tool. We kind of broke below that level on its base, the trend that it was based off of for the most part. But we found some retracement back above it. We churned in this area. If we break below that 49,194, then we have to confirm that it receives additional support at the 45,768. And I don't want to focus on Bitcoin too much, but it's just the markets are relying on it so heavily now. We have to, even if you're not a crypto trader. And it's good that we have Bitcoin in place now because you can see where the markets are headed 24/7 now with Bitcoin being a crypto. I find use in that because I hate, you know, I made some calls yesterday on the SPY, and I got rid of my calls at the end of the day to capture my gains. Good morning, Antoine. Glad to have you here. To capture my gains, secure my gains, and make sure I had a green day. Because I don't like going overnight trying to predict how the market's going to react with everything going on globally. All the things with the pandemic still in play. Some countries are still pushing lockdowns for some time. You know, I'm not going to get into the political side of that or anything like that, but you know, it's a lot of factors you got to go into to consider. And when I do try to consider the market overall, I use this trading log that I built. It's somewhat like a heat map, but what it does is it tracks that heat map throughout the day. And if you're looking at yesterday's market performance compared to where it's at right now, we're currently up 1.66% on the overall markets. That's including the U.S. markets, the international markets, mainly focused on the European markets, Germany, and and then we focus on the VIX, crude, how crude is doing, copper being a hedge play for when the market's down. As you can see, the market's up and copper's down. That verifies that. And then we compare how the Australian dollar is against the Japan currency. I can't remember what the name is. I'm not going to get into those details, but currently showing green today across the board. And I want to break this down. U.S. equities is all of these summed up to an average. International, same thing. But the VIX, if the VIX is up, then it provides a negative score. If it's down, it provides a positive one, respectfully. And then crude plays a large part in that. If copper is, up, then we're seeing a little bit of a hedge into precious metals because there's concern that the market's coming down, which can be solidified or verified by the VIX being up 3% from where it was yesterday. And I think yesterday at its peak, it was up near 8%. No, it was up 5%, but I think pre-market it was like 8 to 9%, which was concerning. You could kind of see the looming pullback that we saw in the market yesterday. So to continue, this gives me an overall score based on these ratings up here. And as you can see, we're kind of idle. And that kind of goes to this narrative that I'm trying to display to you, that we had this pullback in Bitcoin. It churned right here. We thought it was rebounding, but it's actually starting to trade a little bit sideways here. So the markets are trading sideways along with it. And that's what I want to focus on is one, how the markets are correlating now with crypto more than ever before. Two, how to find confidence in the stocks that you have positions in a market downturn like what we saw yesterday. All due to all of these new things correlating, and that being Tesla with Bitcoin and the SPY on Tesla. And then the fact that Tesla went down, the SPY came down, so it weighed down on the rest of the market. And then it caused investor sentiment to drop out. And some people may have been panic selling. Some people, were pulling out to just simply secure profits. So I'm not going to say that they're wrong in securing risk. But also what I want to do is the fact that we got to sit together yesterday and look at this in real time together. We spent about 3 hours yesterday watching the markets, and once the markets reversed, we were able to confirm that. Most of the stocks that went red were able to pull back up into the green near end of day. I know that's a long 8 or 9 hour period that we sat there and watched this. Good morning, Leland. Glad to have you. I think you and Tara may be new here. I'm not sure, but if you're not, thank you for being here regardless. Glad to see you guys here. But what I want yesterday to be an example for, or a platform for you to build off of, is I want you to allow it to build your confidence in the stocks that you own positions in, because it'll show you the strengths in the stocks and how they may have pulled back. A lot of stocks gap down, especially the stocks on our list gap down going into pre-market. But a lot of those I watched throughout the day while I was taking a break to see how they reacted to the market rebounding, and it rebounded. The SPY actually ended up green at the end of the day, near like 30 to 45 minutes before market close, and continued higher. There's some key levels I want to identify on the SPY before I finish this, but hopefully you can use yesterday as a great example to find the confidence in the stocks that you have. Some never even saw any movement to the downside. Some did. Some reversed back to the upside by the end of the day. Maybe a little bit slower than the markets, but the fact that they did should give you some confidence that other people have confidence in the stocks that you have, and they're worthy of the price points that they're at. And then some didn't at all. And those are ones that we want to reevaluate and consider. Do we want to stay here? or do we want to lower our position at least so that we're not risking more in case there is a larger market correction looming due to a pullback in Bitcoin, for example, which causes a pullback in Tesla like what we saw yesterday, and the SPY followed. So those are things I want everybody to consider now, is allowing situations like that to provide you with confidence in the positions that you make. Before I get into any detail at looking at any more specific stocks, is there any other stocks that we want to review for potential opportunities going into the rest of the week and moving forward beyond that? If there's any stocks that anybody wants to suggest to the rest of the community, the members here that are with us in today's session, feel free to drop it in the chat. If you drop a stock in the chat to be requested for a review, girl, what are you doing? What are you doing? Excuse me, little one's irate. Hey, we okay? You want to go back and play? There's your sister. But back to what I was saying. I'm sorry. Got my little one with me this morning. If there's any stocks that you want to review, please be sure to add a price average at least if you own a position in the stock already. Or if it's just simply a stock you want to review, we can just look at it. Did you see what happened to Workhorse? I did look into it. Somebody brought it up this morning, and come here. But yeah, back to it. Hard pullback, and we can go into why. I'd have to pull up my TDA account and everything like that to do so. I actually have it pulled up here. I can just look, but I wanted to be able to show you all the news and what happened. I haven't looked into the news on why it pulled back the way it did, but let's see what the news is telling us. All right, so basically what is going on with Workhorse is they're currently fighting. They're currently looking at losing their USPS, their United States Postal Service NGDV contract. And I'll go a little bit more in depth, not too long, because somebody gave me some feedback that we might not need to, stick too strong on one stock. But let's see. As the electric vehicle maker said Wednesday that it has requested additional information from the USPS on the bidding process. So basically, USPS is just doing what business should do and looking for other opportunities versus just focused on one stock. Tesla recovered to 730. Yes, it did, but it's currently trading at 712 and showing potential pullback because Bitcoin is pulling back. And as you can see, Bitcoin is currently about $300. Baby, what? What's going on, baby? What is the deal? She's grumpy this morning. Yeah. Alright, baby, that's fine. I'll get her. Yeah, Tesla recovered to 730. I know. And I said that it was going to yesterday, in yesterday's session. I said the entire market was going to come back, which would have pulled back on, a lot of stocks should have saw some recovery from the losses they took yesterday. But back to my point, Bitcoin is currently sitting at 49,462. That support level has to hold strong at 49,194. If it doesn't, then Tesla's coming back down with it, is all I'm alluding to. I'm not sure when you jumped into the video chat, but you can go back and review what we stated about that. But moving forward, like I said, if there's anything y'all want to add to the list, let me know now before I go into the current list we've been watching moving forward. The only thing that's showing currently green, amazing, surprisingly, is AMZ. And I think this is based off of a lot of hopes and wishes that the stock does perform, just so people can feel better about it. Especially those that lost a large chunk of money on it, in that short squeeze scenario and things like that. But I stated yesterday that AMC needs to break above the 713 and find support there if they expect it to move any higher, and that's exactly what it did. And that's exactly what it's doing, is finding support at these levels. But as soon as we break back down below it, then we're retesting the 659 and a resistance to support reversal. That's just my expectations on the stock. I don't have too much confidence in it, and that's just, I'm still bullish on it. Regardless of what anybody says to me, the stock can go up, great. Stocks go up and down all day. That does not make any one special, more special than another to me, unless it's just a terrible stock in comparison. But I just don't know anybody that's going to the movies, even with the vaccines coming out and stuff like that. I just don't personally. I don't know the last time somebody said it, but anyways, not gonna harp on it. But it is up this morning, finding strong support around the 725, moving into after hours yesterday and currently pre-market. I'm interested in seeing how this stock reacts to market open though. This could see a lot of investor sentiment turn bullish and hit these signals, and people start buying into it. We could take off. It could. I'm not saying it won't. It just doesn't make sense to me why it would. But another key level to look at is at 786, and I'll be a little bit more. I'll give it a little bit more headroom around the 826. That's what I would be watching, only because it was a previous level of resistance before, and it acted as support right here, and even was resistance before that. So you see where our reversals are occurring between our resistance levels, our support levels, and then once again resistance. And that's why we focus on doing these sessions, so we can identify these key levels, and then determine momentum throughout these price ranges that we're identifying between those key levels. We're trading in between price ranges after identifying them, and then finding the momentum with certain indicators. OEG is another stock that went green, rebounded well after yesterday's pullback, found strong support at the 489 like we would have hoped. Actually above it, about 10 cents above it or so, but rebounded right back above that support level that we were hoping to find support before yesterday occurred. And as you see, a lot of the stocks that we have went through this analysis with and identifying these key levels broke all those support levels that we identified and found support on the lower levels we were looking for, which is good, because we know how to trade it and we know how to identify potential entries at the bottom. And if you were to jump back into this yesterday, then you'd already be back up almost $3, give or take $2.40 roughly, or yeah, $2.40 right now, which is near that's 50% on the trade. But that's why we're doing this, is to identify those levels. A lot of people were freaking out yesterday, and I was trying to provide some calm to the storm, and then also some confidence in the stocks. So Arcc is our next in line, trading sideways, hit our resistance level that we identified. I think that was based off of a longer time frame. Back here, I said it was going to have issues staying above the 1873 or getting above it. It's actually trading pre-pandemic levels. Get the little prodigy. I love you, baby. Have a good day. Okay. Bye, Bailey. But it's currently trading sideways. I said it was going to have issues getting above that 1873, which it has been. But that's what we're looking for in order for this to continue to grow. But moving forward, snow. Let's see how it reacted. What's that? What's that? You want to talk on the microphone? Snow actually rebounded back above our bottom line support. Beta, what are we doing? What are we doing, Beta? Bounce right back above that support level even after retracing all the way down to 243. That's a new level I'm going to identify moving forward if it is not able to keep that support above the 273. Bye, baby. I love you. Have a good day at school, okay? I will. But that's another thing to consider, too, that if Bitcoin pulls back on us, and the rest of the market with it, then we could potentially see some of these stocks come back down to those support levels that were identified in yesterday's trading session. So keep that in mind. You could possibly, if you didn't catch it going to the bottom yesterday, you might have a second opportunity. I'm not saying that's, another pullback is going to be terrible unless people freak out like we saw yesterday and you start seeing panic selling, or just simply people, securing their current investments and lowering their risks based on the markets pulling back heavier. But it's all about identifying those levels that we have been in order to know how to play the trade, find the confidence in the market, knowing your reversals, your re-entries. Even if you did pull out all the way out, you can buy these at much cheaper prices. So I'm not discounting the fact that there's not opportunity in pullbacks, but I'm trying to lower the fact that people are freaking out. But anyways, moving forward, Nokia broke below $4 yesterday, rebounded all the way back up to the 393. Currently hearing some things about potential buyout for the company. I do want to look a little bit further back on the stock because I was doing that yesterday and found another level of support on yesterday's trend that kind of stuck to me. We can see Nokia potentially staying above 384 moving forward. It's traded in that price range all the way since mid to the end of November. So that's something to look at. Somebody requested PFE. This stock is still going down regardless of what's going on in the markets. It did rebound a little bit, but I actually stated that we were looking at this hitting 29, the 32.86 level of resistance. Baby, what's going on today? What are we mad about? What are we mad about? Retesting that 32, it hasn't yet. And if it were to do so, then we're going back to $29. So, potential hold on it. A lot of people are disappointed in the stock performing the way it is, especially after vaccines coming out and stuff like that. I haven't done too much DD on it. Mike, I'm not sure if you're in here this morning, but I'd like to figure out, get some fine details on why we're pulling back so heavy on PFE. What do you want, baby? You want this? You want to play with that? You want to play with this? So, moving forward though, INFY actually broke its strong trend line that it's been riding on for some time now, all the way back from the March crash. That's a concern to look into. It could rebound. I'm not saying it's not going to, but if it does, I expect the old support level to become resistance. So it'll just be trading to the downside of this trend, if so. But I would watch this closely. I'm not sure who was actually in this trade or not. Showing some pullback this morning. Girl, you are mad today. Somebody's not happy. Somebody's not happy. But anyways, to move forward to. Hold on, let me get you situated. Yeah. There you go. You're still hungry. That's all. Uh-oh. Let me get your baby right. Y'all give me a second. I'm sorry. Veda. Veda. Alright, I'm probably going to have to pull back for about 10 minutes while we wait for Mama to get home, because the prodigy is not happy with me at this moment. So, I'm going to take a quick break to get her situated. and we'll come back and review the rest of our stocks. If you want to, feel free to add stocks that you want to review going into today. What, baby? And we'll move forward with looking at those before we go down the rest of our list. Are we okay now? No, we're sleepy still. That's what it is. So yeah, I'm gonna need a minute to tend to the baby. Excuse me. So I'll be right back. All right, guys. Bitcoin there, I think, dropped a little bit below that that level there, but that 194 level, but found support again. So it's concerning that it keeps retesting that support level, and if it does, then we're eventually going to break through it. And if that occurs, then and my theory is correct, then the rest of the market's going to follow with it to the downside today. So it's something to keep in mind going into the day. As you can see, also it's sticking strong to that longer term trend line that it actually broke yesterday, um, um, and traded below and was finding resistance. So let's see if we keep that support going through. I want to make sure everybody's paying attention to this because of the fact that it's causing issues in the rest of the market. As you can see, we already gapped down to 386 on the SPY after being up at the 388 and finding resistance there. But we're currently trading above that previous downward channel that it was trading in. We're trading on the top of it. So one thing that I'm looking at is somewhat like a reverse ascending triangle, if you want to call it that, trading backwards. So I can see this bouncing back up to 388 and then bouncing back down and bouncing back down. So the market can keep fluctuating back up to this 388 level until we break that support and continue going downwards at the same time, which could cause some issues. People start freaking out. But it is finding new support around the 386.38 levels. And that's something to keep an eye on going into today and the rest of the week for sure. So if you look at our long position, this is our long position call on the SPY. We sold it up here yesterday and recovered everything we lost from the morning. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. So honestly, if it does this a third time, if we have a triple top, then once we hit that triple top and we aren't able to find that support above that level, and I get at least 3 confirmations on it, then I'm most likely going to short the SPY in reverse today because of what's going on with Bitcoin. And that also requires Bitcoin to stay above these 49,194 levels. But as you can see, it's showing downward trends, going red on the EMA crossovers on the 10 and 15 minute. Of course, like I said yesterday, this could go red for some time and then rebound and never fully go red. I use the 13, 34, and 55 EMA on that. So let me do this. My volume profile is getting in my way, and I have to push it out a little bit for us so we can still utilize it, but it just not be in the way. I didn't want to do that. Let's see, how was it? The offset I think had to be like 100 or something like that. Let's see. There we go. Move that back. See how that looks. There we go. That way I can still utilize it. But yeah, I'm watching this very closely. That's what I would watch. To finish going down the list, though, I think we stopped around APG, so we'll look at U. I know that one of our premium members was interested in U. We found that support that we were going after for the 100 level. I'm not sure if you were able to get into the stock there, but like I said, if the markets open up today with a pullback, then we can expect re-entry points at those levels if you missed them, along with other stocks, not just this one. PLTR showing a pullback from its rebound from yesterday. Currently finding resistance around levels of support that it previously had going into last Friday's session and Monday. So that's something to be not concerned, but just be aware of. I stated I forgot when I did my review on this. I think it was Friday. That if we broke these 30, when was that? Where were we at? I can't remember where we were when I did my review on this. But I identified our levels. That's these green levels. And as you can see, that became resistance for us. But now we're currently worried about the 28 and getting above it, and also holding strong above this about the $26 price level. Not going to get into too much detail on that. And that was identified from previous price actions and key levels before. So I really broke down this trade And I could go in here and kind of color coordinate it a little bit for us, so it makes it a little bit easier to see. I'll do that. I'll probably do another review. I know a lot of people have some interest in it. ONTX actually rebounded pretty well from yesterday's pullback. It was an alert we did last Friday, and is back around the price range that we pushed the alert out on. Let's see. Andre is sending me over some stocks that he's winning on. We might look at if nobody else is going to, request any. Yes. Request any stocks. So, we'll look at some more opportunities. 1 second. Let me go check on the little one once again. All right, sorry about that, everyone. I know some people probably left, and I hate that, but let's see. Have some people sending us some questions, and all right, but who all do we have still in here with us? Unfortunately, I know some people probably left, or people are leaving, so what I'll do is I'll go ahead and close this and then reopen it, and maybe that'll notify some people to come back if they're interested in doing so. Maybe not, I'm not sure. Situation's changing for us, of course, with kids being back in school after the snowstorm, so we're trying to adjust to that properly. I apologize. What I'll do is probably do a session from 7:30 to 8 moving forward. That way we can get the kids to school, and then we probably reopen a live trading session going into market open moving forward. So Who all do we still have with us? I'm not sure if you're not able to access the chat or not, but what I'll do is I'll go ahead and close this stream for now, and then pick up another one, and hopefully we can. Today is going to be a good day. Yes, it is. Mike, I'm going to reopen the stream just to notify everybody again properly and go from there. All right.